Welcome to IMAGI-NATION TV, Week 17, Episode 81, featuring Barry Liberman on the theme of brave goals. My name is Zach Haddock, and I am at Warragul Regional College in Year 11. I would also like to welcome my principal, Miss Nicole. So what does the theme of brave goals mean to me? Well, the idea of goals is that you accomplish them, you set them and you accomplish them, but brave goals is taking into account that there are some things that you can set, but you can't do. And brave goals would be to challenge yourself and to push yourself to that degree. And I'm going to ask my dear principal, Nicole, what does brave goals mean for you?
Well, thanks for putting me on the spot, Zach. Brave goals to me definitely mean challenging yourself. And setting a brave goal means that you might not make it and you might risk failure. And I think that is the best thing you can do, because that's how we learn, that's how we grow, that's how we become better human beings. And I really applaud everyone who sets brave goals, and I encourage everyone to do it. It's the best fun that you can have, and it's the scariest thing that you can do.
Honestly, I don't think I could have put it better myself. So currently I am co-hosting, and I'm very excited for that. I'm hoping to get quite a bit of experience out of it, a lot of kind of public speaking, I suppose, out of it. And I'm very excited to see how today is going to go. I believe that I am going to throw it over to Stefani.
Hey, thanks, Zach. It's great to be working alongside you today. I've seen you host one of the shows before, and I saw you on here today. I was like, yes, I'm really pumped to work with you. And yeah, definitely get some experience out of it. Like I told you pre-show, I was kind of paralyzed with fear when I first started doing this, thinking about not being able to talk and being overcome with anxiety, but practice definitely does help. So glad you're jumping back into the game today. Yesterday we had Romy Kufler, Justin Favela and Maddie Webb, and they all spoke about like one commonality when it comes to brave goals, and that's being able to celebrate and connect with your culture in your workplace. And I think that's really important. You're connecting with your identity. You have to know where you come from to know where you're going. So yeah, keen to have a chat with Barry about that as well, and uncover some learning for you guys today. So it is back to you to introduce your schoolmates in the live audience before we put your principal under the pump for the 60-second challenge.
Yeah, she's very, very excited to do that. I'm going to introduce my lovely, lovely, lovely dear students. We have Alira, Kayla, Dane, and Corey with us today, who seem incredibly, incredibly excited. How are you guys?
Yeah, totally.
So hello?
Hello. Been waiting.
Lots and lots of energy with that, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
So, how are you feeling about being on IMAGI-NATION TV, guys?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Where is this getting hosted?
What is IMAGI-NATION TV?
Well, IMAGI-NATION TV is a TV show all about how people can express their imagination in different ways, and how people can, like, it gives them a chance to kind of sit down with a lovely group of people. And I believe that I am entitled to say that because I've been on here multiple times, and I know that the people here are lovely, and they are really, really passionate about like showing people that they can do what they think they can, and they can achieve what they can do. And this is a way to not only show us that we can do that, but to also show everyone watching that they can do what they think they can. So yeah. What do you hope to get out of today, being on a live audience panel?
Mainly just to find out what it means to have like brave goals, like a further in-depth meaning.
That's a really good kind of thing to think about. I know that there are some people who like they answer, "Ooh, jumpers," or like some kind of materialistic stuff. But yeah, that's really, really cool. So I'm going to ask you this question now. What does brave goals mean to you?
To me.
To all of you?
Brave goals means it's not just setting a normal goal that you can just achieve. It's setting a goal that you're proud of achieving. And then once you've achieved it, you think back on it and you never forget.
Really good wisdom there. Does anyone else have any examples? Yes?
I'm going to limit it, but I'm going to assume it's goals that are brave. I might be wrong.
Yes, I do imagine that they are brave. And have you guys set any brave examples that you can think of?
Not as of yet.
Not as of yet?
No.
Yes?
I want to start a restaurant as soon as I finish college.
That is a good goal. Okay, so I believe now we are going to be doing the 60-second challenge with our principal. So, Nicole, our dear principal, as a principal, what do you do?
Oh, nothing. I
Nothing?
sit in my office and drink cups of tea.
Oh, that is amazing.
I wish I could say that. What do? My job has so many different angles and parallels to it, but maybe I will just explain the best part of my job. So the best part of my job are the students here at Warragul Regional College. So I get to walk around, talk with those students, work with a bunch of fantastic teachers and staff to make sure that our students get the best learning opportunities, and that involves a lot of paperwork and background and admin, and involves a lot of teacher development and learning, sometimes student management, but the best part really is seeing students achieve their goals every day, and that's why I come to work.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about being on the show today?
Well, I'm not a real fan of cameras and pictures, so.
Well, you're doing really good so far. I would say that. So are you ready?
Yes. Go for it.
Fantastic. So, what is your idea of perfect happiness?
Perfect happiness. Well, I don't think there's anything quite perfect happiness, but for me, just being under the water, scuba diving.
Really? Wow. Okay. What is your greatest fear?
My greatest fear, I don't have sort of normal fears that people have of heights or public speaking or anything like that. My greatest fear really is probably not being able to do the things that I want to achieve. So maybe not reaching my brave goals.
On what occasion are you out of your comfort zone?
Probably now on camera. Not a big fan.
Yeah, that's fair. I was about to say, I'm surprised your biggest fear isn't cameras.
Well, it's just I don't like seeing myself projected back at myself.
Yeah. So which living person do you most admire?
Which living person do I most admire? Really tough for me. Some of my heroes have passed on in the last couple of years. My grandfather was certainly one of those, Maya Angelou, and a few other people that are just amazing. At the moment, I probably really admire Jacinta Ardern as a female leader. And there are actually a couple of students in this school that I really admire the adversity that they've been overcome to achieve their learning goals this last 12 months. So there's some pretty amazing kids here.
Yeah, well, that is really, really nice as a principal to be able to do that in your workplace.
Yeah.
I thank you very much for supporting what AIM does and working with the kids in our school. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries at all. And I'd love to have a shout out to AIM because I think it's a fantastic program that supports our students, and I'm really, really happy that we're a part of IMAGI-NATION TV.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being a really good role model, not just on here, but also in our school. And I got to thank you for that. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
No problem. Live audience. How do you think our teacher principal went? She does teach a lot of role modeling. Like out of 10, how would you rate them? No idea?
Oh, yeah. Right.
I think she did really well, actually.
Solid 9.5.
9.5, that's a really high rating. Keep in mind, our teacher was right here too.
Yeah.
Every word you say.
Done really well.
Really well?
Yeah.
That's good. If the teacher, principal, I keep calling him a teacher, I'm very sorry.
I am a teacher.
Yeah. I'd say even if our principal wasn't here, I give her a 3. No, I'm kidding. I give her a 10. For someone who doesn't like do cameras and stuff, I'd say she did a really good job today. And that's not just because you're right there next to me. I think she did really well. And I believe I am going to toss it back to Stephanie.
Thanks, Zach. I agree. I'd give her a 10. She's got a great list of people on her list of people that she admires, including the students in her schools. So that's great to hear. And maybe she was a mermaid in a past life if scuba diving is her idea of perfect happiness. I haven't been myself, but yeah, I love the ocean. Thanks for all the work that you do with AIM, Nicole. We know that the work that the principals and teachers do is a really key role, not just educating the students, but also providing that environment where they feel comfortable and being able to learn effectively as well. So thanks for joining us today.
Well, she's very, very happy and very smiling off camera. So
great.
Yeah, she's very happy with that. And I imagine that she's very thankful for the words you just said.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So it's over to our keynote speaker now, Zach. And today we have Barry Liberman joining us. She's the co-founder of Small Giants, the creative director and publisher of Dumbo Feather magazine and podcast. Welcome to the show, Barry. How are you today?
Hi, I just had to figure out how to unmute myself. I'm good. How are you going, everyone?
Honestly, I think I'm doing really well.
Good.
And the audience seems like they're doing well too.
Hi, live audience.
Lots of waves, lots of smiles. That's what you like to see.
Rad. Well, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk about Brave Goals. It got me thinking a lot about what Brave Goals are and what they mean to me. And so I thought we could have a really cool chat about that. I'm a storyteller and a businesswoman and a mum and a wife. I'm a media entrepreneur, a journalist, and a presenter. So I do a lot of different things in a lot of different businesses. And thinking about Brave Goals and what it means to you guys was a really so it's a time when everything feels really different and our lives have changed. The news has changed. And a lot of us are wondering what the future will look like and how to plan for it. And so I'm really wanting to get excited about brave goals together, and for you guys to have some brave goals and to go for them, because we need you to be in your imagination and setting really bold, really brave goals for the future you want for Australia and for the world. I think it's a special time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
thanks for that, Barry.
Yeah.
Why don't we start with what brave goals actually means to you, and why are they even important? Like, why is it necessary for us to set goals?
I think there's a whole part of our lives where we just set goals to get through the day. Like, I got to get this assignment done. I got to get up and brush my teeth. I got to make sure I do my chores at home. I got to look after the dog, whatever the daily goals are. And then there are the big, hairy, audacious goals, or I saw you guys wrote in the notes, big, risky, audacious, visionary. At high school, I don't know if you guys have brave goals that you don't tell anyone about, but brave goals can be everything from what you were saying, which is to do public speaking and to get on TV and do presenting, to design a way to eliminate pollution in the oceans. That's a goal that a 17-year-old kid came up with and then designed that incredible product. It's called a sea bin. And that filters the rubbish in the oceans and is helping clean up the oceans. So you can have big, audacious goals and set them, and how you wait for the next few years. Big goals, brave goals, they take a while to unfold, and they take a lot of thinking, a lot of planning. But like I was saying, for some people, a big goal is just, I'm going to speak in front of a lot of people today, and that's a big deal as well. And I could never have imagined doing the things that I have done. But I had really big goals. I was really passionate about a lot of things, and I knew I had to find a way to be strong enough and creative enough to achieve those goals. We talked, you and I, about, I wrote down this whole thing about what I thought about brave goals, and I think it's brave to listen. I think it's brave to give up your story, give up your narrative when you're in a conversation with another person. I think it's brave to know your story and own your story, know who you are, where you come from, what's holding you back, what you're passionate about, what you're inspired by. I think it's actually brave to identify those things. It's brave to rest and take care of yourself and take care of, brave to love in the face of challenge. I think it's brave to have questions, to actually own those questions and to put your hand up and ask questions. I think it's brave also to be accountable for your words and your actions. And we can see your principal said Jacinda Ardern is one of her heroes. She's one of mine too. She's a leader who's really accountable for her actions and her words, and she'll really hold what she decides. And she's very collaborative and communal in her decision making as well, but she owns the space. Incredibly honourable. So that's just a few of the things that I wrote down about what bravery means to me.
Yeah, that's great. And I think there's so much in there, because even sharing your story, there can be moments of fear that are associated with that. And as a storyteller yourself, we have these platforms for people, everyday heroes, to be able to share their stories. What is something that we can do to know ourselves a bit more deeply and not be scared to tell our story, to get those human connections happening?
You know, and they judge me and think all these terrible things about me. And it isn't true, because when we really tell our story, people connect with us more, and we're able to reach across and be with each other more. And I think I've really moved my story. I did a lot of therapy in my 20s. So I literally sat in a room and told someone my story, and was brave enough to do that in a safe environment with a safe adult. That was really profound for me. Diary, journaling, I think is really big. Meditation's been really big for me as well. My mind, and so fairly familiar with my own breath, and not be so afraid of the thoughts. And setting a really, I don't know, it's a long road, you know. A lot of you guys are in your teenage years, and it can be really hard to be brave. Because a lot of the time you have a lot going on in your lives, a lot of challenges, a lot of fears, a lot of concerns. And you guys have social media. I didn't have social media when I was a kid, and that just messes with your head because there's a lot of comparison. I turn off your technology for a while. I find that really helps me connect with my own story, not to be always comparing myself to other people's stories. Yeah, that's just a few of the tips. Want more tips?
That's really great advice. I think being able to spend that time listening to your internal voice is really important too. So blocking out some of those distractions. Speaking of storytelling, why don't you tell us how you came to find your company, Small Giants?
Small Giants, yeah.
Giants, take us on a little bit of a journey through that and what you were doing before that, why you saw the need for it, and how you connect, I guess, through some of your culture and your story to bring that to life.
So Small Giants is the love child creation of my husband, Danny, and I. He was an aerospace engineering student. And when he graduated from aerospace, he founded Engineers Without Borders, which is a humanitarian aid organisation for engineers to go around the world and do really cool things to help community. And I, just before we met, I graduated from the Victorian College of the Arts. I did filmmaking, playwriting, photography, and a whole lot of the performing arts stuff, which I really, really loved. I'd always been a writer, and writing, photography, cinematography, it all went together. And I was lucky enough to get an apprenticeship in Hollywood. So I worked in Hollywood from the age of 21 till about 25, and I worked on a lot of independent film sets, and I studied screenwriting with some pretty amazing people over there, and I learnt a lot about story and story structure. And I realised that for me, story I still believe that. And so when Dan and I met, he started Engineers Without Borders, and I was still working in Hollywood as a filmmaker. And it became pretty obvious pretty soon that we had a story to tell together, and that was Small Giants, which we started when I was pregnant with our first child, Amos. And we realised that after we watched the documentary An Inconvenient Truth, which told us about climate change and what was happening on the planet and the urgent action that was required, we realised that we wanted to be a part of the solution, and stepped down from Engineers Without Borders, and I walked away from my burgeoning career in Hollywood, and we started Small Giants as a business that would be a force for good in the world. So there's a whole movement in the world today. You can look up B corporations, B Corps. That's a certification for ethical business in the world, and that's not, there was no name for what we were doing back then. But we knew that we wanted to use business and money to change the world, not in traditional philanthropy, but through entrepreneurship, innovation. There's so much I could say.
That's okay. You're just cutting up a little bit, but I think it's a good example of how brave goals can force change. So there wasn't even a name for what it was that you wanted to do, just a force for good. And now we can go and check out B Corp. So there's a bit of a movement behind that. So thanks for the work that you're doing with that. So you also, in your podcast, Myth, Morals and Money, you talk a little bit about the different states of economics that we could adapt for. And I think there's also something that you mentioned where you talk about how well-being should be part of that measure rather than profits.
Yeah, so one of the cool things you guys can check out is a little kingdom. Can you hear me, or am I cutting out all the time?
We can
we can hear you now, yeah.
It's on every now and again, that's all. Sorry.
My internet's not awesome. Okay, well, can you do a thumbs down if you can't hear me? A thumbs up. There's a really cool kingdom wedged between China and India, and it's called the Kingdom of Bhutan. And if you do a little bit of Googling about Bhutan, you will see that their king decided to turn the country into a democracy. And he said, we're just, how about now? Okay, rad. We're a Buddhist nation, and I don't want to just measure GDP, which is gross domestic product. I want us to measure GNH, which is gross national happiness. And so Bhutan was the first country to think of the idea that they would measure the country's well-being alongside the economic well-being of the country. So they wouldn't just measure profits or money coming in and money going out, but how happy is the community? How intact? Okay, this is going to be fun. It's like a roller coaster, you guys. We'll just be on this together. Life on Zoom. And so that's been really inspiring for a lot of us to rethink the economy, to reimagine the design of the system where money moves around the planet, and think, how can we live within the bounds of the environment, of the ecology, and towards human flourishing. So there's another design idea called donut economics. How about now? I feel like I should have music in between.
It only ever goes for about 5 seconds.
Okay. All right, rad. Sorry, you guys. So instead of an economic growth curve that everybody learns at Harvard Business School, which is endlessly going up, endless growth, it never shows the curve that goes down, which is endless depletion of natural resources and the destruction of community. So the donut is saying, can we live within the bounds of the planet and towards all of our flourishing? And that's what we're trying to do at Small Giants in all the business. I'm going to go again. We build solar farms. We have a media company which produces a lot of podcasts and interviews talking about how we can live differently in the world and use business and money as a tool to help us get where we really want to go. So that's a bit of that. I wondered whether you wanted me to just chat about brave goals, because we were talking about them yesterday, and I was saying that I've felt very scared and very uncomfortable a lot in my life. No? Did I cut it out? We back on? All right, guys.
Zoom is...
Live audience, are you with me, guys? Can you feel me? All right.
Barry, I was wondering if I'd be able to ask a question about brave goals, just that you brought that up. I am wondering that it sounds like you made like a lot of brave goals on your way from coming here, like leaving the Hollywood career to create Small Giants. So what was the key, what was the main drive in doing that? Because I'm very interested.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to be successful in Hollywood. I really, really wanted to win an Oscar. And then I met someone who changed my life, and that was Danny, my husband. And I really wanted to I wanted to have a family, and I wanted to do all those other things that usually are not valued in a career. But I really wanted those things. I wanted to be a mum, and I wanted to have a real full life. And so that's the reason I made the decision to sidestep my career choice. For my mental, that love was going to be really important in my life for my mental and emotional well-being, and also my spiritual well-being. I knew I needed to do that. So that's why.
Thank you. And with well-being, currently, like it has been a massive highlight in the schools and all that. So I am wondering, like in places where well-being isn't so highlighted, like do you have any advice on how to focus on stuff like that?
Yeah, how to focus on your. Nah, bugger. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Do you want me to like just do that like immediately? Okay.
Okay. So focusing on your own well-being, I really feel like for your generation, for us as well, for all of us, we need to get off technology for a certain amount of time, I think every day, and get out in nature and move our bodies and breathe and not be constantly on. I think that's really, really big for well-being. And the second thing for me that's been big is I really only spend time. Hang on. How about that, you guys? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, rad.
That one was a bit.
Yeah. So I think that for me, you are the company you keep, and I spend time with people who lift me up and make me feel good, and I don't spend time with people who make me feel bad. So that's a couple of tips from me. And I think it's really good to get good sleep and eat good food. Those are two other surprisingly important things in getting to achieve brave goals. You can't kind of run yourself down and achieve brave goals, I don't think.
Yeah. And with like achieving great goals, there are always like the risks that like you might not, you might not like succeed at all of them. So are you like on the same page that with a goal, like sometimes it's not succeeding that goal that's the most important, but sometimes failing that goal and learning from it and then like being armed with that knowledge and that experience to move forward. Do you find that to be more valuable or less valuable, or maybe the same value as completing that goal?
I think that there's such thing as perfect, and that having brave goals makes you strive. And maybe you'll float slightly away from that ultimate goal, but usually when you're reaching for it, that's the thing, because you become better and you become stronger and you become wiser in striving for something that really stretches you. And it doesn't matter in the end if you achieve that goal exactly. You'll find yourself on a road less traveled, and that's worth everything.
Yeah. So what brave goals have you set then, since we're on that topic as well? And have you failed any and learned from them?
Oh yeah, I've failed heaps, and it's an awful feeling, and I really don't like it.
But did you like pick yourself back up and learn from it and reconstruct yourself?
Yeah, like this. I'm doing this talk, and then tonight I've got a big presentation, a sold-out event for 200 people. And I did a similar event last week, and I actually didn't nail it. It was a bit of an epic fail, and I felt sick about it for days, and I didn't sleep very well for a couple of nights, and I was mortified. But you get really used to not listening to that negative voice as much. You start to listen to it and go, okay, yeah, I get it. That feels awful. You let that happen, but you don't give it too much, and you say, but I'm going to get up tomorrow and I'm going to do it again, because it's worth it. The feeling of achieving stuff, of getting things done that you care about, is worth the failure.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. So now that we've done the 20-minute condensing your entire life into 20 minutes, I know that must be incredibly hard. There's so much going on and some amazing stories that have come from you. Moving on from that, I want to do a Q&A with the audience if we can. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us though?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh no.
So can I ask, on a reflection of the show, what have you guys learned, and do you have any insights? Anything that you're going to take away from this and live your life with?
Yeah, I think I've got a broader understanding of what it means to have brave goals.
Well, that's really good. So do we have any final thoughts?
I can't really hear the clear.
You can't really hear?
Can you say that back to me?
Shout it from the rooftops if you have to. It's okay. You're in the conference room.
You can't hear us, Barry?
Ooh,
No, not individual voices.
So you can't hear me now? Or...
I can hear you.
You're clear.
Yeah, okay. So you might need to speak a little bit louder. So same question again, Corey.
Yep. So I gained a more broader understanding of what it means to set brave goals.
Well, that's really good. So to separate like goals that are impossible and goals that are like in your reach, or like what are brave goals and what are like normal goals or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nice. So with that, do we have any final thoughts by chance?
Corey, you got some questions, haven't you?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. So I was just wondering, is it hard to let go of your old job?
Yes, very hard. I loved it a lot, but I really wanted to do something bigger and more meaningful and live a life that I probably couldn't live doing my old job. So it was really, really hard. I felt really lost after that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose that like the most important thing is that you're happy and that everyone around you is happy by that. So
yeah, but also just to say it's okay to feel lost sometimes. Everyone feels lost.
Yeah, the
sometimes.
only way to like find the right path is to be lost in the first place. Like sometimes it takes being lost to figure out that what you're doing isn't what you want. I suppose. Yeah. So
don't panic.
Sorry.
Just don't panic, just get good advice from people that you trust and keep asking good questions.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you, how's it been on the show?
This is awesome. This is rad. I'd love to kind of see, like it takes you back to being in school. It's a big experience.
Yeah, it really is.
It's cool. I'm happy to meet you all and happy to be here. It's a real privilege.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you on here with us. I'm going to throw it over to my live audience. How have you guys been being on here?
Good. Really
good. Really good?
Yeah, as a teacher, I got a lot out of it. So thanks, Barry. Yeah, really appreciate it. Yeah, it was really, really informative. And I guess in my journey, it's, encouraging students to take those brave goals. And then as a teacher, you get so much positive feedback when students do that. And then you might catch up with them 10, 15 years later down the track and see where they've ended up. And I guess as a teacher, sometimes when you got students at year 7 and 8, you don't sort of see the start of that. But, if you continue on the journey through their schooling and then, following on their footsteps afterwards, it's always great to see where, some of them, who can do that and take those brave steps and where they end up. That's one of the most pleasant aspects of teaching, I think.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Of course.
What do you think?
I think it looks really good.
I love it. Is that what you were doing while we were talking?
Yeah, I do this a lot. I'm trying to make a manga.
It's really awesome, and I'm so glad you were doing that instead of listening.
Ooh. I gotta write that down. That's a good one. I'm planning on becoming a teacher, so I'm gonna write that down.
That was rad. Thank you for showing us that. That's super.
Yeah, that was really good. I like that. So I believe that we have run out of time. From what I can tell, we have learned quite a lot from that. It's very insightful, a lot of things that we can take away and think about when we go home and when we're having a shower, like shower thoughts and bed thoughts and just stuff that we really like get stuck with and like we think about, and like stuff like that can really change our lives. So I thank you all very much, especially Barry. Thank you very much for like being able to condense such an amazing life and all of that knowledge and essentially just give us so much information in such a short amount of time. So I thank you very much for that. You've done us great service. Thank you. And from the live audience, I've heard that you guys have enjoyed it quite a bit. I imagine that this has been a very, very good experience.
Great fun and insightful.
Corey became insightful. That's good.
And Zach, from a school perspective, I'd like to thank you for, putting your hand up to take on this role, stepping out of your comfort zone. So you've set a brave goal by doing this today. So, thumbs up from me. Well done. Very good.
Thank you. I wish I put a brave goal of not putting a comparison of my face beet red with the normal skin that I have, because then it really tells you that it's not the sun, it's not that. I'm just really beet red at the moment. And I would also like to thank our amazing principal, Nick. Do you want me to turn the camera to face you? Honestly, I think she's done a really good job. She's been really taking all of this and listening, and honestly, all of the feedback and all of the things, she's just been agreeing with so much. And I honestly think that she's done a really good job, especially since she doesn't really like being on cameras. I can understand that. You've done a really good job. Thank you,
Zach, and I too, super proud of you. Well done.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, and I'm gonna pass it over to Stephanie. What do you think?
I think you've taken the show to another level, Zach. Incredible questions, and you just did a great job today. I'm proud of you as well. And the work that you do also inspires the other students within your school to take on those leadership roles and take a step outside their comfort zone as well. So thanks for doing that. Thanks to the live audience, and also David, continue sparking those imaginations, because we know when you plant those seeds with your students to set goals, you never know where they could land. So thanks for the work that you do. And Barry, it has been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you today and jumping into some of your life story and the work that you're doing. And thanks for being a force for good. And hopefully we'll keep you in the AIM family in some way, shape or form.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
No problem.
Back to you to close it up, Zach.
So yeah, I think that was really well. Gotta admit, for this kind of thing, probably the best idea to have Corey and I in separate rooms. Otherwise, we'd have a reenacting of the Chucky Bicky Supreme Overlord. And yeah, I'm not quite sure how well received that was. Heard it was great, but insightful, serious knowledge, So yeah, I think we've done really well. Roll credits.